Let's get on to the first of four international Group 1s. It's the Longines Hong Kong Vase, won last year by Exultant, who returns to defend his title. And he's got a strong chance too in his recent form. The gate looks a bit awkward on paper, but it's a long run down the home stretch before the first bend comes up. From Japan, Glory Vase, Aspetar, Southern Legend's been in great form. Young Rascal for Willie Haggis will draw barrier number 10. Called to the bar, Maxine Guillon. Prince of Aaron, of course, got out of the gate slowly in this race last year, but has terrific form coming back again. Eagle Way, Ho Ho Khan. Deirdre, no stranger to Hong Kong. Lucky Lilacs drawn gate 1 for Christophe Soumillon. True Self, Anthony Van Dyke, a poor gate in 12 for Ryan Moore. And Mount Everest, Wayne Lorden, barrier number 13. Gate probably not overly delightful for him either. Now, it is a nice run down the home stretch, so that does give those drawn wide a little bit of chance to offset the awkwardness.
They get the best part of 450 metres. Southern Legend, I think, will be there. Now, we know the cruise runners like to race handy. I think Exultant, Zach will slowly press him forward to sit handy in the race. Young Rascal's got a handy profile next to him. Glory Vase should map nicely. See the horse at the back there, Mount Everest. Now, it would not surprise me at all from gate 13 if they opt to roll forward with him in the race. So keep an eye on him. Anthony Van Dyke, you can see, caught 3 wide with Aspetar.
The defending champion, as we mentioned, is Exultant, and he's cherry ripe going into this, as you'd expect. All his horses are working pretty well at the moment, and he goes really nicely. He's done a really good hold, and he's all set to go, so he looks really good. His form is rock solid. Here's the Japanese runner, Glory Vase. Now, Joe Moreira jumped aboard this for the first time. When I thought it was a nice piece of work from him, he really stretched out well, and he looks good. He's going nicely as well. And the Japanese are always strong in this race, as we know. The other one we're going to have a look at is another one of the Japanese, which is Deirdre. Now, she's been all around the world and back here to Hong Kong now. Oisin Murthy has a good feel for her as she comes down, so I think she's a big chance.
All right, well, we're going to go back and firstly have a look at the Jockey Club Cup, which was won by Exultant. This time last year, Exultant ran second to Eagle Way. He then came out to win the Vase, defeated Lise Gracheuve. Volgeist was about 3 lengths behind them. It ended up being one of the most strongest form lines in the world.
Yeah, it certainly did. Exultant here. The only question mark I've got was it was a bit of a tough run, I thought, for him this time round in the Jockey Club race. Has it taken too much out of him? He's got gate 14. He's going to have to slide forward. One would think Furore was really good. He improved there, I thought, Furore, because he'd come off the back of a couple of disappointing runs, but after that tough 4-year-old series, I think he's not far away either. Yeah,
well, look, Exultant looks the one. I can't see how those other horses can overturn it after that, because he's only lightly raced this season. This will be his third up.
Be interesting to see what Zach does do from the start with regards to barrier number 14. Probably just slowly roll and go from there. Well, Thursday morning at the barrier trial, Edward Sadler was roaming around catching up with everybody, and let's hear firstly from Roger Charlton.
Roger, great to see you here in Hong Kong with Aspetar. He's drawn barrier 11 for the Vase. You saw him out on the track this morning. What are your thoughts?
I'm happy with him. He's not a very big horse, but he's a tough horse. He seems to have taken the travel well. He seems eating very well, and he's kind of fresh, buzzy little horse naturally. You know, when you see him in the paddock before the Vase, he'll be on his toes, and when the jockey gets on, he's always charging about all over the place. And once he gets out on the track, he's pretty good. I think we bring horses here that have kind of done their work before they get here, if you like. I don't think he's ever needed a lot of work. He's a clean-winded horse, so really once we're here, we're just ticking over. You know, it's just a question of getting into a good routine and getting your horse kind of happy and relaxed and presenting them on Sunday in good shape as we can.
Group 1 winner in Germany last time out. He's done a lot of his racing this season in Germany and France. How do you assess his form coming into Sunday?
I think I think he'd be fair, would struggle in a Group 1 race in England. He won a fair Group 2 in France, and then, you know, he's an owner-bred horse, so it's important for me to build black type for the mare and for the family, and it's a good family. And, you know, having won a Group 2, it didn't seem a lot of point in trying to win another Group 2 with a penalty, if you like. So we found a Group 1 race that wouldn't have been the strongest race, but he won it pretty well. And, you know, that was 2.5 months ago, so the timing is good. So this would be be a natural sort of progression. I think he just needs to, you know, come on again to beat the best of them. But I think it's an open-looking contest, actually.
Certainly does look to be another classic edition of the Vase. Are we giving Aspetar any chance?
He's not on my numbers.
No, he's not on my numbers either. I just sort of question how strong that Group 1 race was in Germany.
Yeah.
All right, let's move right along then and head to Glory Vase from Japan, a 4-year-old colt by Deep Impact. And Joe Moreira will take the ride. We've seen Joe successful for the Japanese in the Vase in a few years back. Be interesting to see how this guy performs. You can see this is a really sterling battle to the wire over there in Japan in the Tenno show alongside of Fearman.
He did have to cover ground in that race as well. It was a really good run from him, just beaten over the final stages. He's coming into this here second up, and I think he's a big winning chance. He's worked well during the week, and I think Joe's had plenty of good raps about him.
Yeah, I would agree, and I've got him fair and squarely in there. I think he's going to run a really good race.
I've spoken to a couple of people from the Japanese contingent. They suggest that he might be the best horse that's come here from Japan this season. So if that's the case, he needs to be rated highly. Let's go to the Geelong Cup. We saw Prince of Arran run here last year. It was a creditable run all considered because he did get out of the gates very awkwardly and it was difficult from thereafter. He's back again similar form in the Geelong Cup, and then obviously ran well again in the Melbourne Cup as he did last year. True Self has gone on to win following this event herself.
Yeah, both of them ran really well. True Self's galloped nicely during the week. She's gone well, and look, both these horses have got legitimate chances.
I think certainly with Prince of Arran, he can potentially race close to the speed in this race, so that gives him a real live opportunity. Things just unravelled for him here last season.
They did. Well, he's got to get out of the gates on time, that's for sure, and I have no doubt Michael Walker will be well aware of that. We move on to the filly, Lucky Lilac, who's by Orfevre. Obviously, drawing well is going to help Christophe Soumillon.
Yeah, came through the inside, Lucky Lilac. You can see with this Japanese camera angle as it goes through, and she won really nicely. So this was over 2,200 metres, but the way she won that, you'd think 2,400, but she's had a couple of setbacks.
Yeah, there's been a lameness issue during the week. Yeah. She was passed by the vets on Saturday morning.
That QE2 Cup form has stood up before her in the Vase in the past, and Crocosmia was the horse that she ran past there. Crocosmia, of course, has been here herself and run on the big day. Now, Anthony Van Dyke, obviously one of the most interesting runners, not only in the Vase, but on the whole day itself.
Yeah, this is the Irish Champion Stakes coming out of Leopardstown. Was beaten on this occasion by Magical Look. He's run against Sovereign. There's been bricks and mortar there coming through the Breeders' Cup race in the US, and he was unlucky in that race too.
It was, and won the Derby, of course, so he brings some really strong form lines, I think. He beat Japan fair and square. I think Japan was one of the favourite horses of the stable.
What's interesting, though, is Blinker's first time.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm wondering, he's been up for a long time, there's no doubt. He's done a lot of travelling, and Blinker's first time is something that certainly caught my eye. Deirdre ran on strongly there too. She's been here in the past and now takes on the Vase for the first time. Summing it all up, Paul, did you end up coming back to the top?
I did. I think Exultant's probably the sort of the banker of the four races for me. I think he just brings these really strong form lines. Anthony Van Dyke out of the Derby, look, he's going nicely, and we know Aidan O'Brien horses do run well here. Glory Vase for Japan and Deirdre for Japan as well. Really good race, but I think Hong Kong can win it. 113.210.
I'd love to see the hometown hero Exultant be able to do it. He's fairly short at the moment at 1.8, but I'm going to go with Glory Vase here. I think he's been working well coming into this, comes into this race second up, and was good last time out. So I think he can go close. Number 2 to beat 1 Exultant, 10 Deirdre, and 13 Anthony Van Dyke. 2, 1, 10 and 13. Yeah,
only having his 10th start, Glory Vase. I think he's the main danger as well, Tom, but I did go with Exultant 1 to beat 2. So that is another fabulous edition of the Longines Hong Kong International Vase. We'll take a break. On the other side, it's the sprint.